Hello my friends and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 Paws and Claws run. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're playing the character that has benefited probably the most from the addition of the pets, the Arms Dealer. This character gets extra damage and rerolls a lot, but of course buys only the weapons that show up in the shop every wave, so you can end up with pretty bad weapon sets. But having the pets running around killing stuff for you makes that a lot simpler, because you can now find some pretty powerful weapons that don't go away every wave. So the Arms Dealer is going to be one of the major beneficiaries from this patch, and I think that is going to be pretty useful for... this is a character that a lot of players struggle with. Also notice that at the first shop there, or first wave there, I'm trying to line up two enemies since we have a pistol and it's a piercing weapon, so you kill more enemies by making sure that you're shooting them in a line. Here I'm going to roll for harvesting. We definitely want to get as much of that as possible early. Now with the Arms Dealer, the way that this character works is that all damage modifiers are increased by 33%. So we can buy something like percent damage or melee damage and have that be increased as well. In the early stages, I'm just looking for economy boosts, but later on, that's going to be extremely important. Here, I'm going to buy the stick. I would like to use mostly melee weapons, because that will just make things generally much easier. I'm also going to ban level 1 items, because that way we can get the rats to show up earlier, and the rats, I think, will be really powerful for making our early game smoother. And then also we can find good economy items early. Although we're going for a pets build, I think it's more important for the Arms Dealer to just get off to a really good start and get ahead in terms of money, so that we can afford to buy better weapon sets later on. We'll take the Whistle and the Corrupted Shard here. You can buy items, you don't have to just buy weapons on this character. And then I'll definitely buy a coupon. Ghost Scepter, I think we might be able to get 1 HP here. If you get the number of kills for the Ghost Scepter, these stats are permanent. So we might be able to squeeze out 1 HP on wave 2. And then I'm going to pick up another Ghost Scepter and actually combine that in order to make sure that we get the 1 bonus maximum health. Go ahead and lock these. And I'll buy a Sickle just to be safe. I can re-roll here to lock another weapon in the shop, but I'm not particularly concerned about what weapon we use on wave 3, so I'm not going to worry about that. So basically, I'm trying to give the kills to the Ghost Scepter here, but we bought the other 2 weapons just to make sure we're not giving up on any clear speed. We'll go ahead and kill that 3. The Ghost Scepter just needs 16 kills in order to get us an HP, and we did, in fact, get that, and we get to keep that HP forever, even though the Ghost Scepter itself goes away. I'm going to reroll here, and reroll again. Attack speed is pretty useful on the Arms Dealer as well, because that will always be relevant no matter what weapon you get, with like a couple minor exceptions, whereas buying flat damage might not be relevant with some weapon sets. Here, though, I will just take 2 melee damage. We've had to do a lot of rerolling, so I want to start boosting my damage output, and then we'll take some regeneration. Very important to get that. Buy a Ghost Axe, same principle as the Scepter. We'll get to keep the percentage damage, and then we'll buy these 2. Medical Gun we can pass on, but if I buy it, I get a free reroll, so spending 2 on the Medical Gun will actually save me money here. Because the rerolls stay cheaper as you keep rolling, so we're going to get to reroll a lot for very cheap there. I could buy the Toxic Sludge. I'm not that worried about it. I think also buying Garden is a little too expensive for what we're doing right now, so I'm going to roll past all of these things. I'm leaving Toxic Sludge in the pool because we might want to buy the elemental damage later. Another Ghost Scepter, that's a nice one for, again, permanent stats. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to buy the coupon, buy Ghost Scepter and Scared Sausage, and then lock the Thief Dagger, because Thief Dagger is also a weapon that can give us permanent money, but I don't want it to be competing with my Ghost Axe and Scepter this wave, so then we will do a free reroll, or a very cheap reroll, and buy the Fertilizer and Ghost Scepter as well. I'll take the Goat Skull here. Increasing our melee damage will matter, and again, this will give me a free reroll. The trick with the arms dealer is you always want to have a weapon locked in the shop. It makes it so much easier to guide your next shop. So if you have a melee weapon locked, because weapons are more likely to show up based on the type of weapon that you already have in your inventory. If you lock a melee weapon, you're very likely to be able to get more melee weapons. I'm trying to kill that loot alien, and we did in fact get it. It looks like I missed out on getting an HP or a % damage, I think, that wave, because we had 2 ethereal weapons kind of competing for kills, but that's okay. We got the loot crate, which is even better. Take the weird food here. Terrified Onion, I'm just going to go ahead and ban now. This is a very weak item overall, and while I do want move speed, this character gets a lot of stats, so we can find that anytime. Here I'll just take 5 more, or 8 more harvesting. And then let's go ahead and buy out this shop. Roll here. We will take a corrupted shard and a weird food. I think I'm just going to buy these weapons. This is not a great weapon set, but I want to make sure I have at least 4 weapons on wave 4, and usually 5. So what we're going to do here is we'll buy the Ghost Scepter, combine those, and then again we can maybe get 18 kills and pick up a max HP here. With 3 regeneration, I don't think we want the weird ghost here. Do I want alien worm? I have +4 consumable heal, so I can buy the alien worm. I'll lock the ghost axe, and then we'll do another reroll. Lock a corrupted shard. And then on wave 4, there is the lamprey this wave, so I'm gonna buy the revolver just to be a little bit safer. We almost certainly don't need that, so the 13 materials there are kind of wasted, but just making sure that we have enough weapons to easily kill the lamprey, I think, is going to be just the safer way to play it. Especially because we got that gobbler spawning, so we had to spend a lot of damage on that. We also want to make sure that we're getting the curse alien kills. Curse is a little worse on the arms dealer in general because you don't get to keep the cursed weapons that you might find. But cursed items are still really powerful. We'll take 9 speed here, and then I'll take 8% damage, so big damage boost. And then here I'm just going to buy out this entire shop. We'll take our reroll. I'll definitely take a couple ghost axes. And landmines, ways to deal damage that don't involve your weapons, are really strong on the arms dealer. So I'll take the landmines here. I'll buy the bone dice, and then we'll take our reroll. Here's a cursed weapon that unfortunately we can't keep, but I will take the cursed ghost axe, because I want at least 4 weapons this shop. We'll take bag, lock sharp bullet, and then reroll again. And then here, I could buy this ghost axe. I would like 5 weapons this wave. Usually, my goal is to have at least 1 weapon per wave number. And then, obviously, you want to buy 6 weapons most of the time, starting at wave 6 or 7 or so. So I think what I'm going to do here is just buy the ghost axe, and we will lock the cacti club. That way we've got a melee weapon locked for the next shop. And we're mostly going to be building melee weapons on this character. We're definitely not going to get the maximum amount of % damage because I just have a bunch of ghost axes competing for kills, but we should pick up 1 or 2 this wave. And you don't need to get tremendous amounts of damage value from the ethereal weapon. The goal is just to pick up a little bit here and there, which is why they're nice for the character, at least in the early stages when they're relatively easy to use. And the fact that they're inherently somewhat weak weapons doesn't matter as much. Get our heals there, and then we'll pick up some bonus % damage, try to kill a few more enemies, and you can see we're making a lot of money, and we get to keep a little bit of % damage that wave. We'll take the lemonade here, and then I think I'd better just take 6 max HP. My maximum health is pretty bad. We'll take 10 luck as well. That can have higher level weapons start showing up in the shop. I'll take the sharp bullet and the cacti club. Plant, very good. We usually want to use regeneration on this character because there's no guarantee that you're going to have a weapon set that lends itself to lifesteal. Feather I could buy, because it gives me a ranged damage, which does scale pretty well. Or I could ban it. We will probably end up wanting to build dodge, so I am going to buy the feather here. And then here we go, we got our first pet. the Bonk Dog. Very powerful for this character because it means that we'll always have a relevant weapon. This effectively is like having an extra weapon. I'll buy the taser here. At this point, I need to roll for some weapons. We'll definitely take small magazine. Reinforced steel, the ranged damage is fine, but we're typically going to be building melee damage mostly. So I'm just going to ban this because it's a fairly inefficient item in general. I'm going to re-roll here, and then we'll just buy a couple more weapons, roll again, and fill out our weapon set, lock a metal, and buy a mushroom, and do another re-roll. Javelin, it is a ranged weapon, but I'm just going to go ahead and lock these two. These are two pretty solid weapons that we can take into the next wave. I also, appropriately for a pets run, I've got my cat in here with me. He was sitting on my lap and he just jumped from there to entirely across my office and is now very startled to find himself having ended up somewhere else. So if you hear me yelling during the run, it's because sometimes he sees the moving things on the screen and likes to try to attack them. So I'm curious how the Bonk Dog is performing. Obviously, our weapon set here is pretty good. Just decent melee damage, so we did very well there. And then here I'm going to take 6 more melee damage to make sure that our weapons and the Bonk Dog are doing more damage. This did 450 damage, which I think is quite low for last wave, but probably a reasonable amount of kills because it constantly chases and attacks enemies. So I'm going to buy all of these things. We'll take our reroll here. I'll definitely take the loot worm, and I think I'm going to ban scope. Losing 7 attack speed is very painful, so we'll ban that and try to get more level 2 items to show up, which include pets, obviously. Take the loot worm. Crossbow, I guess I'll just buy it. I really want to get to 6 weapons here, so we'll take a cacti club and a ghost scepter. Not the most inspiring weapon set, but it's fine for this wave. And then, do I care about locking either of these? Probably not, so I'm just going to keep the barnacle and tree locked and go to the next wave here. Usually you want to lock a melee weapon, and that way you can make sure that your melee damage that you're buying, and I think it's easier to build this as a melee character than as a ranged character. That way you can make sure that the melee damage that you're buying is relevant, because you'll have mostly melee weapons. I really like the whistle sound effect. I know I've said that before, but that's just such a good change. Shout out to the viewer who suggested that in a comment, which I think is why they made that change also. And you can see we're starting to make really good income because we have a ton of harvesting and we're still getting a lot of kills. We'll take the ritual here. More percent damage is good. Lifesteal, also actually a little more relevant for the arms dealer now that pets exist, because if we get like the Catling gun or something, that can be a lot of lifesteal. We'll definitely take range and attack speed on the banner. We'll take additional luck. 4 elemental damage is a lot, but I don't really want to build around elemental damage. I think I'm just going to take this 8% damage. Okay, well, we got 2 of the strongest economy items in the game in the same shop. Black Flag and Barnacle together are incredible. I do need to make sure that I have enough weapons to survive this next wave. I'm not going to buy the pistol, it's just so bad. So what we're going to do here is buy the baby gecko, lock the muscly dude, because I do want this, but I need to find some weapons. The arms dealer is guaranteed to always find at least 1 weapon in the shop, so you can lock items and reroll. Compass, I'm going to ban. I don't really need the engineering, although we do have kind of an engineering theme this wave with the screwdriver and wrench. I need to buy 3 more weapons, so I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do that is and what items to get rid of. I think we will lock the Clockwork Wasp. We'll have a couple structures. I'm going to ban the compass here, and then I'm going to roll, take a circular saw. If I buy the Scar, will I have enough money to be able to then re-roll and buy 2 more weapons? I think so. So I'm going to roll, and yeah, we can buy these 2 weapons. This is, again, a somewhat weak weapon set, but we've got our dog helping out, and we've got the extra structures, so that should be pretty reasonable as well. Also, the flute could maybe get some charms, and that'll help us clear stuff. But mostly, because this character gets to build so much melee damage, because you get 33% extra damage, and we have a lot of stats from all of our early investments, I'm feeling like this somewhat weak weapon set won't be too difficult. Nice, we got a charmed anglerfish there. Whoops, okay. I let that goblin shark hit me, which was definitely poor. That was a lot of damage, because a cursed goblin shark hits really hard. We were able to kill the tree. Of course, we have the loot worm, which is going to kill trees as well, but just to save it some time, we had to run after that tree and kill it. We'll take the bat here for some lifesteal. Another bag is awesome. 12 max HP is really good. Our max HP was very poor, and then I'm going to roll again. I'm really looking for level 3 upgrades, because that's where Barnacle will typically be most impactful. Like 5 regen there is such a huge buff. I'll take the plank. I think we'll skip the medical gun. We'll buy these 2. We'll buy a ghost flint and another plank. Boxing glove. I guess I'll take the boxing glove. Maybe we use coil or something like that, and I'll buy the laser gun just to get a free reroll here. You can often just buy things for a free reroll. When you're playing the arms dealer, it is a totally reasonable thing to do. We'll take the spicy sauce here, and brick is another weapon that is great for this character. If it breaks, great, you got 10 materials, and it only cost you like a couple to buy, probably, because this character's weapons are so discounted. I'm gonna lock this wrench. We'll lock the piggy bank. Piggy bank is pretty nice as well. Pulls a level 2 out of the pool and just makes things a little easier. We already have piercing shots and we have negative crit chance, so I'm gonna ban the eye patch. I have some engineering, but I still don't think I want to lose a bunch of % damage, so I'm going to ban Cog as well, and then we'll reroll, and we will lock a power generator for more damage output. Had to pause the recording real quick just to let the cat out of my office. He probably got scared of the bonk dog, but he was getting antsy. So this wave, the laser gun is actually not bad. We've picked up some ranged damage, so we can use ranged weapons reasonably effectively, and the laser gun is pretty good for killing the hatchers because it just does so much damage per shot. We've also now managed to pick up quite a lot of curse, and we're going to be getting more constantly, so it's really nice to be able to kill these cursed enemies. I definitely would love to see a couple more pets, because that would help with a lot of this clear speed, especially when we have slightly dodgy weapon sets like on this wave. The arms dealer, your goal is to build the character such that even if you get really unlucky and find very poor weapons, you can still win any wave easily. So you just want enough defensive stats and enough raw damage that even with relatively weak weapons like we have here, you still make a ton of money and are able to stay very powerful. Take the Cyclops Worm, another bonk dog, that's great. The more of those we get, the better. Here I'm definitely taking some armor, because my armor's actually quite low. I could pick up some more melee damage, or I could roll for armor. I think I had better actually roll for some armor here. With 4 armor on Abyssal Terrors, doubling that is just so powerful, so really nice to be able to do that. Alright, we'll take a weapon. I think I can afford to just buy all of these, and it's fine, and we'll still be able to find a good weapon set. We got a really nice weapon set. Maybe I should have locked... No, we don't have an elite next wave, it's the wave after. If we had an elite next wave, if we had a wave 11 elite, I might lock the Vorpal Sword just to have the chance of one-shotting it. Elite waves, of course, are where this character can really start struggling. I will lock the laser gun, though. We don't need it for this wave, because my weapon set is actually very good. So I'm going to not worry about that, and I won't buy a crossbow. We can definitely do better than that. Okay, well now I might want to build crit chance, because hunting trophy is a very powerful reason to do so. So I think, given that, and the fact that we probably won't roll into another good weapon, what I'm going to do is buy the laser gun here, ban the little frog for a free reroll, and then we'll be able to hopefully lock something somewhat powerful here. We did kind of miss, so I'm just going to reroll again. And Ghost Flint is a good one to lock. I'll also take another landmines. With Double Dog, we are much more able to rely on them to kill things as well, which is really nice for us. I had a funny moment there where I was like, when did I get those incendiary turrets? But of course they come from our level 2 wrenches. If we had picked up an actual incendiary turret item, that's a really strong item on the arms dealer, because it is very good at clearing waves, even when you have a weak weapon set. Even if you're not building much engineering. Other things that are really strong on this character, which we haven't seen, Baby Elephants and Cyber Balls are really good. Alien Eyes is really good. Just anything that can... The Scared Sausage that we already have is really nice. Anything that can kill enemies that doesn't involve attacking them with your weapons, or doesn't require attacking them with your weapons, is extremely strong for the arms dealer, since your weapons are the only thing you can't control. We'll take the Peaceful Bee here because it's cursed. Yes, it costs me 1.33 of each relevant damage type, but we can start building dodge as well. I'll take the Energy Bracelet. I'm more interested in elemental than ranged damage, and the crit chance is good because we have the hunting trophy, so if I can get a little more crit, that's very powerful. Here I'm going to take the level 3 upgrade, and then I'm going to roll. We'll take 5 ranged damage. That's a lot of damage, so nice to get that. Here I'm going to... I'll take a Brass Knuckles, we'll take a Campfire. I'll take Sunglasses because we have hunting trophy. I wouldn't if we didn't have that. Do I want the missile? My percent damage is pretty high. My attack speed is very bad, so I'm going to pass on this. We'll take the taser. I think Celery Tea will be fine this wave. My weapon set isn't great, but we have a lot of non-weapon damage sources. And this isn't the elite wave. So I'll take the Celery Tea, and I'll take Snake, and we'll pick up the Wand so that we can clear the Celery Tea enemies better. More max HP is good. Another Harpoon Gun is kind of nice as well. And then Lighthouse is a lot of engineering, and we actually have a bunch of... We have the landmines, but we'll have a lot of other stuff that scales with engineering. So I'll pick up the Lighthouse here. I'll lock the Hunting Trophy and Catling Gun. Do I want a Screwdriver for the boss wave? It's actually a pretty powerful weapon for us, because we have a lot of engineering and melee damage, so I think I will lock the Screwdriver for the boss wave. I'll pass on the Goat Skull, because I don't want to reduce my crit chance for Hunting Trophy. So this wave is definitely a little more dangerous, because we have Celery Tea, so enemies have double health here. But our damage output is definitely high enough that we can clear these enemies, especially with the Snake and the level 4 Wand. We're actually able to do quite a lot of burning damage. And our Scared Sausage not only increases the burning damage from the Wand. Okay, I do need to not just run alongside a Cursed Goblin Shark and take 3 hits from it, though. The Scared Sausage increases the burning damage from the Wand, and also means that we're applying burning damage from all of our pets and landmines and everything, so... a good way to wear down enemy health before they actually get to us. Made a little less money that wave, but we still gained a level, and the Celery Tea is now going to be giving us value over time. We'll take the Sunken Bell here. This is a good panic button for the arms dealer, because you never know, you might get a really bad weapon set, and just need the reset. I don't really need more max HP, so I'm going to roll here, and we're looking for a more powerful level 3 upgrade. We'll take 20 luck, that's perfect. We'll definitely grab Jousting Lance, another good weapon for this boss wave. And another Catling Gun is pretty nice as well. Screwdrivers and Jousting Lances isn't, like, the perfect setup, but I think it'll be good enough to fight the boss, especially with the extra attack speed from community support. Insanity, I definitely want. Ghost Scepter, I think I'm going to pass on, so I'm going to lock these two items. They're both good, but I want weapons that will help us kill the boss. Schmoop will roll past. I don't want to lose that much damage, and then I'll take, I guess, this level 1 Screwdriver. I'm going to throw in a reroll here, because I'd like a stronger weapon for fighting the boss with, and at least the level 2 Screwdriver will give us a little bit more damage. With 60 damage a shot on those, 100 on our level 3 Lance, and 75 on the level 1, and then 79 on the Chainsaw, plus obviously the percent damage. I think that will be reasonably powerful for killing the boss here. We're obviously able to kill the boss pretty smoothly because our damage output is pretty good. But as you can see, it's a little deceptive because when I take a hit, it hits really hard. We don't have a ton of armor. And our healing is good, but not incredible. The nice thing there was we triggered our Sunken Bell, which gave me a lot of room to run away, because I took more hits, obviously, than I should have in that fight. And then, while I was running away, the Bonk Dogs just killed the boss for me, so that was pretty powerful. So even though we got a kind of mid set of weapons for fighting that elite, having all these pets running around made it so much easier. And of course, the chainsaw is very good for fighting elites, of course. Octopus, great. It does cost me crit chance, which hurts our hunting trophies, but the stats on this are just too good to pass up. I'll definitely take a Scarf as well. More melee damage, more regen, that's perfect. Here I'm going to reroll. I'm looking for more crit chance and armor, I think are the stats that we need the most. Do I want 20 attack speed, though? It's a lot of attack speed. I could also start building dodge. We do have 4 dodge, but we have Barnacle, which makes it a lot easier to get to dodge cap. I think I'm just going to take the attack speed, though. I could roll for crit chance there, but more important is making sure that we can just kill things. Take the Javelin and Hammer. This is a much smoother weapon set as well. Go ahead and buy both of these, and we'll roll. I think I'm going to save the level 3 hatchet for the boss wave, because it's a pretty good weapon, so I'm not going to buy it here. And instead, I'm just going to reroll, and if I buy the mouse, I can't buy Sharptooth, so I would be playing down 1 weapon on wave 13. But I think we can afford to do that. We can get a little greedier because we have our pets. So normally you wouldn't be able to make this play. But because we have the pets helping us clear the wave, we can play down 1 weapon and still be pretty safe, I think. I know many people sincerely dislike the Arms Dealer. Personally, it's one of my favorite characters because I really like the puzzle of putting together a good set of weapons each wave. You know, I wouldn't want it to be the only character I played, but as a change of pace, it's really fun. But I think once you get in the habit of locking a good weapon for the subsequent wave and focusing on 1 damage type, the character becomes a lot easier. It's about planning ahead to make sure that you always have an option to buy good weapons, rather than just reacting to what shows up in the shop. Yeah, we'll take 8 melee damage. That's, again, a lot of extra damage. I'll buy the hatchet for sure. This is going to be a good weapon for fighting the elite with. We don't have a ton of explosions right now. Oh, no, wait. The Bonk Dogs have explosions. So explosion size is really good for them. I'll buy both of these. I'll reroll here. Sharptooth, not exactly an inspiring weapon. I could take the Dynamite or Mutation or Alien Worm, but I think I need to just reroll for weapons here. I want to make sure that I have good weapons, and we might roll into something like Hand that doesn't really help us fight the elite. Rip and Tear and Incendiary Turret I will lock, though. These are good enough to hang on to. But we're going to just roll for weapons. I'll take the Recycling Machine before going into the boss fight, because it will give us so much value if we get a bad red item from the boss. And then don't be afraid to reroll with items locked in the shop when you're playing the Arms Dealer. The rerolls here, just think of them like you're buying weapons. Normally a character would be spending this much money on a weapon anyways. So even these expensive rerolls with few things in the shop are still really strong for us. I could take the Spyglass, but let's just pick up a Harpoon Gun. Harpoon Gun actually scales really well, so it ends up very strong for killing elites. Because it gets 100% ranged and melee damage scaling, and we're building both damage types. So between our okay set of weapons and the fact that we have the pets, and I'm gonna, activate the Catling gun here by staying near it, making sure it's getting the attack speed bonus, and the dogs are just running around killing stuff. And we have the bottom mine following us around as well. We were able to kill the elite really fast, even with, again, not the best weapon set I've ever seen. I would love to pick up a little more crit chance here, of course. The hunting trophies are giving us a decent amount of money, but a little more crit chance would help our damage output and give us even more money from those. Okay, well, we definitely got the crit chance we were looking for. 50 range is also fine on this character. Range isn't obviously super important, but it does help given that you might have a weird set of weapons where having low range is a real issue. Jelly is usually going to be very good because we'll often have a bunch of different weapons. And then I'm going to reroll here and take 20 attack speed. More attack speed is just so powerful. Yeah, we're losing crit chance, but Rip and Tear is another one of these items that kills stuff regardless of your weapons. So it's a very powerful tool for the Arms Dealer. Grabbing a Spicy Sauce, that removes another level 2 from the pool, because we now have both of those, and that's the max you can roll. I'll take the Wrench, and Plank is fine here. I guess I'll buy the Pruner. We might end up selling this if we get better weapons, because this I'm not super happy with. We'll take the Spear and the Jelly. Reroll again. Buy a Cacti Club and a Catling Gun. I don't need the Acid. We have tons of max HP. And then I'm going to roll here. How comfortable do I feel with this as my weapons? Do I need to buy like a Shuriken or something instead of this Pruner? I think, again, because we have all these pets, we can just lock 2 more good weapons and just go to the next wave. I'll buy a Gambling Token here because I do want to start building dodge at some point, and then I'm going to roll. We'll take a Lens as well because ranged damage is relevant for our cats and for any ranged weapons we might find. Yeah, it really does help being able to take slightly more marginal weapon sets into even fairly difficult waves. Wave 15 is often somewhat challenging. But just having triple Catling Gun, double Bonk Dog, and the Bottom Mine means that we are able to just rely on those to clear the wave for us, and my weapons just don't matter as much. So it's really nice that we don't have to spend a ton rerolling for better weapon sets and instead can focus on economy and defensive stats and just make the character even stronger. Yeah, we'll take the Padding. Again, that's a unique level 2 out of the pool, so we're more likely to find pets now, and then I'm going to roll. We'll take 8 more dodge. I can start building dodge at this point. We'll definitely buy these. This is a really nice set of weapons for this wave, and then I'll roll here. There's a Ratzilla, and then I think this is fine. We'll take our free reroll, get to 6 weapons here, and Sad Tomato is more regeneration. Explosion size is still good. I'm going to roll. I'm not that happy about brick or ghost axe, so let's take the wolf helmet. Yeah, 129 then. And then we'll lock the leather vest, and I'm going to throw in a reroll here to try to lock a good weapon. Okay, so this is a somewhat more risky wave for us, because I don't really love either... I don't love the shotgun here, so we might have to roll a little more next wave to find a good weapon to use. Because our shop didn't turn up anything good that we wanted to lock there, so we're going to be down one, you know, high-quality weapon going into the next shop, and we'll have to roll for it. We've gotten a few cursed weapons, but not many cursed items, which is a little sad, because the items are the ones we actually get to keep. I would love a cursed pet or two. Trying to clear these curse aliens as well. Obviously, they're worth more money, and we get curse. Starting to leave a lot of materials on the ground, even with the loot worm, and I think we have a baby gecko. But if we get some more pickup items, that would be pretty nice. We'll take the Catling gun here. 5 armor is great. Armor was the thing that we were mostly missing. We only had 5, so going up to 10 helps a ton. Alright, circular saw, that's a decent weapon. Ghost scepter, I guess I'll take it. It can potentially pick us up 1 more HP. Cyberball, I already talked about how this type of item is really strong for this character. Let's go with sort by obtaining, please. We'll take Thief Dagger and Spiky Shield. Heavy Bullets, it does give me ranged damage and 10% damage, but losing attack speed and crit chance I think is too bad for 250, so I'm going to roll past that. It also would not allow us to get a full weapon set if we bought it. I'll buy the wheat here, though. This is a ton of damage stats, so that's great. Do I care about these two? I could buy both of them and get a reroll, and then we'll hopefully be able to pick up a weapon, so I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to lock the submachine gun. That'll be really nice going into the elite wave. I don't really need stone skin. It's just not important to increase my max HP at this point. And I think I'll take the scissors, and I'll lock chopper as well. This is not the best weapon, but it's good enough for fighting the elite, and I want to make sure I have at least some weapons locked, so that fighting the elite is very smooth. Again, the way that we potentially lose this run, which is unlikely at this point, we have so many pets that we could probably just not buy weapons and still be fine. But the way that we would potentially lose this run is if we got a really bad weapon set, or if I accidentally buy something that's too expensive and then can't buy 6 weapons going into an elite wave. And there are some elites that we really would want to kill very quickly. So making sure that we always have the potential to do that is important. In a run like this, where we're way ahead, the key is just to look at the very narrow avenues that could still cost us the run, and try to shut those down. We don't need to try to play for anything other than preventing the worst case scenario, because if everything just goes sort of normally and according to plan, we'll win. Here I'm going to take the crit chance. This is mostly for fun because we have hunting trophy. Probably the right choice is the armor there, but picking up 12 more crit chance is just so nice for a hunting trophy build. We'll take the SMG and the chopper. I'm going to pass on the jousting lance here. I think we can do better for fighting the boss. Harpoon gun isn't bad, though. I'll buy the propeller hat, and I'll buy mirror. There's definitely some things that I would love to mirror here. Rip and Tear is one of them. Having double explosion size upgrade makes Rip and Tear actually incredible. So even though that costs me a bunch of crit chance, it's still a really nice damage boost. And then I wouldn't have minded mirroring a Catling gun as well. We'll take a Flaming Brass Knuckles and then do another reroll. I will lock the level 3 Brass Knuckles going, and I guess the SMG as well, going into wave 19. And then we'll save 200 materials. We do have a piggy bank, so we gained a tiny amount of value doing that. Just gonna stand here with my cat squad and let them just chew that elite to pieces. One reason I really like this character is you actually have to make decisions in every shop, and those decisions will often be different from the norm. Once you've played this game a lot, or any game a lot, you often end up with heuristics that guide your decisions. And so there can be runs where you never really make real decisions that are different than the ones that you would normally make. You can just follow sort of the rules that you've built up for yourself. Whereas the arms dealer makes that much less possible. You actually have to react to what's happening. I'll take the spider here. Again, we're often going to end up with a bunch of different weapons in our weapon set, so we'll get a lot of attack speed from it. I'll take the range for 40. I think that's okay. We could also recycle there, but I think it's fine. We'll take 10 melee damage. That's really nice, and then 8 more dodge. Now that we're at 30 dodge is still pretty valuable. Pearl gives me plus 10% damage because we have 100 luck, so that's definitely good enough. Also, we're buying the clover there, so it's even more luck. Blunderbuss is a nice one for this wave. I could maybe even have saved it for the boss wave. We'll buy the Jelly Shield. I don't think Jelly Shield is actually that strong at the current price point, but for the bosses, it can maybe be helpful just eating a couple projectiles. I'll take another plastic explosive as well. Strange Book gives us a lot of engineering, so we'll buy that, but I need to re-roll past this snake to find another good weapon. I'll lock the SMG. This is just going to be a very solid weapon for fighting the bosses, and then we'll take the icicle. Throw in a re-roll here to see if I can find something else good to lock. I'm not that worried about those, so let's roll again. Bottom mine, definitely good, and the other two items there I'm not that concerned about. Just looking for good weapons or extra pets to make killing the bosses faster. I'm really not sure what the fix to Jelly Shield is. I don't like the current iteration. It's just too expensive. Making it level 3 but very cheap, like a goldfish sort of pricing level, I think is probably the best thing to do. I don't think moving it to level 2 makes sense because all the pets are already level 2. Level 2 is pretty clogged with that type of item as well. But it was definitely too strong and too consistent at level 1. Getting 3 Jelly Shields every single wave, or every single run, I don't think is that fun because it just means that enemies with projectiles are much less important to pay attention to. So I'm not sure what the fix there would be. I'm going to recycle the Peacock, of course, because we're going into the boss wave. We will take just 2 armor. I could roll for better stats there, but the armor, I think, is going to matter more. Coupon, we will spend 1,300, well, 1,250 materials after buying the coupon. So that's just about exactly 50. So it will not quite pay for itself, so we don't want to buy the coupon here. We'll buy both of these and then reroll. Ugly Tooth can help against the bosses. I guess I'll buy that. I'm going to roll again. Okay, this is nice. So we'll take Revolver, Harpoon Gun, and Trident. These are all good weapons for fighting the bosses. And because I have SMG, Revolver, and Harpoon Gun, Seashell is actually very strong. So we'll pick that up. Take another ranged weapon here. I'm going to end up with more ranged weapons than melee weapons because we got the Seashell. Do I want the Jousting Lance? I guess I'll buy it. It's free because it immediately gives us a 20 material discount. Okay, we'll buy that candy bag just because it would be really funny to get an extra elite spawn. And I'll take the eye surgery and reroll. So here, do I think that the level 1 SMG is better than the Jousting Lance? Do I want the Lemonade? I think we'll just take the Cursed Lemonade and go with this current weapon set. Jousting Lance is our weakest weapon overall. And maybe the SMG is better just because we have the... we've got our seashell here. The game does not like to order the items correctly. These are sorted by obtaining currently, and it's not doing a rarity sort. Is it doing a name sort? No, it's just doing a random sort. I'm really confused. Oh well, they need to look into the sorting here. Again, I really like that they added this function, but it doesn't work properly. Alright, let's go to wave 20. Took a hit there, but we're just gonna run around shooting this elite. Letting our cats kind of go off, too. Cats are putting a lot of damage into the elite here. And there we go. We have killed both bosses and won the run. So that was a really fun run. I really like that the arms dealer gets the option to have all of this scaling because of the pets. Let's look at our items here. So we saved 180 on the Dangerous Bunny, but obviously wildly more than that because it discounts every future reroll as well. 1800 from coupons, really nice there. 50k damage on Scared Sausage, pretty strong also. A good ratio on our bone dice. We actually rolled pretty hot on the bone dice. 31 to 5 is above average. We did 22k with the landmines, gained 600 with bag. 60k and yeah, so about like 75k, a little more than that, 80-ish damage on the bonk dog. So pretty good there, especially because the damage numbers, I think the raw damage numbers on the pets are a little misleading because they attack things until they're dead, which is much more powerful than just doing this damage randomly. So like 20k damage from the landmines, I think, is a lot less valuable than 20k damage from the bonk dog, because the bonk dog is always killing stuff. We got 231 materials from the loot worm, pretty good there. 900 from Black Flag. 17 levels on our barnacle, very nice. 80 materials on Piggy Bank, but we mostly got that to pull a level 2 out of the pool. 530 on Hunting Trophy. We did find a bunch of items that incentivized us to reduce our crit chance, but Hunting Trophy still were pretty solid. We got 30 healing on the Tentacle. Our Catling guns dealt 100,000 damage, so again, very powerful there. And what else? Our bottom mines, only 15k, but we weren't building a ton of engineering, and we got these kind of late. I think we had a rat as well. The rat actually dealt 8,000 damage, even though we got it right at the end. 30 projectiles intercepted on the jelly shield, too, is kind of fun. Sadly, our candy bag didn't give us an extra elite, which I was hoping for in the end wave, or at the end of the game. But, yeah, so you can see... Oh, let's check our Rip and Tears. 50k on them, and only 5k on the incendiary turret. And then 15 on Cyberball, and only 1200 on Baby Elephant, but we only had that in the last wave. So yeah, I think that Arms Dealer, if this is a character that you've been struggling with, just got a ton easier with the addition of the pets, and also just much more consistent at getting a strong build, because you can much more easily get greedy and go into a wave with a relatively weak weapon set when you have a bunch of dogs and cats that can just kill everything for you. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this run, and of course, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.